Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Raja Umar on my channel RU Speaks, and I am speaking for you. Raja Umar is speaking for you for the subjects of Pakistan studies and global perspectives. These days we are discussing the topics related to the component 1, the history and culture of Pakistan, and we are in section 2, and we are discussing the topics related to the 1920s, and we are towards the end of 1920s now, and we are entering into 1930s now. So 1930s, first topic we will discuss today, that would be Allahabad address, and then we will talk about the roundtable conferences today. Do not forget to subscribe, like, watch, comment, and share my channel RU Speaks in your community, among your fellows, among your students, and even among your colleagues. Definitely, there will be a greater stuff available for you for the subjects of Pakistan studies and global perspectives. So starting today's topic, that is the topic related to Allahabad address, and here you can see the notes I have for you from where I'm explaining all the topics since I have started taking the making the videos of my subject. So the topic for today, Allahabad address 1930. So if I talk about Allama Iqbal, he was the one who presented this famous address in 1930 at Allahabad, India, where he presented the idea of the separate state for the Muslims of the subcontinent. This was for the first time that someone went even a step ahead beyond the two-nation theory and presented the clear idea of independence. Up to this point, I mean 1930, All India Muslim League had never thought to demand independence. But Allama Iqbal was the first Muslim leader who demanded independence and who gave the idea of Pakistan. What he said at that time, what I can imagine, that there would be an independent Muslim state under or without the control of the British towards the northwestern region of the subcontinent, which is Pakistan right now in 2025 these days. So you can say the idea of Pakistan is given in this particular address. So partition of India, Muslim League policy. So I mean, what is the importance of this Allahabad address? That it gave a clear direction to All India Muslim League that now the purpose or the focus or the objective of the movement should be independence and a separate homeland for the Muslims of the subcontinent. So it means that this particular address further authenticated the two-nation theory, father of ideology of Pakistan. Allama Iqbal was a single person who gave this idea in 1930, and the same idea took 10 years to become the ideology. The Pakistan Resolution, 23rd of March 1940. So in that particular resolution in 1940, Jinnah, along with the Muslim community, along with the Muslim leadership of the subcontinent, demanded the separate country for the Muslims with the name Pakistan. So it means that whatever Iqbal thought in 1930, that became the policy of All India Muslim League in 1940. So it means that Allama Iqbal was going 10 years ahead of the rest of the Muslim leadership in the subcontinent. So that is what we call the who can be declared as a philosopher, who can be declared as a thinker. The philosophers, the thinkers, they remain far ahead of the rest of the common people. I don't mean that Jinnah was really very much inferior in front of Iqbal. No, Jinnah was the one who gave the practicability of the ideology which was designed by Iqbal in 1930. So both personalities, they had their roles in the politics of the subcontinent, but I give a bit edge to Iqbal in this sense that he was the one who tossed the coin of independence, being the first one, who gave that idea which became the ideology in the later years, who was the one, because of his idea, the Muslim politics geared up in 1940s after the Pakistan resolution or the Lahore resolution of 1940. He was not there at that time. He was no more. He passed away in 1938, but he gave the clear direction to the Muslims of the subcontinent way before the nobody else had thought about that in Washington. He gave the clear direction to the Muslim community, the Muslim leadership, the Muslims political party, All India Muslim League, that where to go. And he was not with the party when the time came, when the party started moving towards independence. Allama Iqbal was not in this world. So for this particular reason, I give a bit edge to Allama Iqbal on rest of the Muslim leadership or rest of the Muslim community or the leadership of All India Muslim League. You may disagree, you may differ, but I have my own perspective. So the two nation theory, Allama Iqbal was the father of ideology of Pakistan. So inspiration to other thinkers, they also started thinking the same way as Iqbal was thinking. And this is how what we call the development of some idea or conversion of some idea into some ideology. Inspiration for other Muslims or other people to defend their rights, as this particular idea of independence was the clear way that the Muslims wanted independence. That was the biggest ever right, to be free, to have freedom, to have liberty. So this is what he had demanded and what became the demand of the Muslim community in the subcontinent in later parts of the 1930s and even in the 1940s throughout till 1947. So Roundtable Conferences 1930 to 1932, in these ones, very especially Maulana Muhammad Ali Jauhar, he addressed over there in those Roundtable Conferences and he demanded the demand of Allama Iqbal, the independent country for the Muslims of the subcontinent. But he said, if you could not give me independence, give me the place for my grave over there in Britain. This is what he had said, Maulana Muhammad Ali Jauhar, while addressing in the Roundtable Conference. So reasons that why Allama Iqbal gave this idea of Pakistan at Allahabad while addressing the Muslims over there in the annual session of All India Muslim League. To decide a future for India, that as you know that there were many differences and many conflicts and a greater chaos across the subcontinent just because of the difference of ideologies among the Muslims and the Hindus and the British. If British were trying to resolve the issue of the political issue of the subcontinent through Simon Commission, Muslims and Hindus, they were rejecting it. If the Muslims were presenting their proposals in the form of Delhi proposals, the Hindus and British, they were rejecting them. If Hindus were presenting the Nehru report of 1928, Muslims and the British, they were rejecting them. If Jinnah was presenting famous 14 points in 1929, the British and the Hindus, they were rejecting them. So it means that there was always, we see the rejection everywhere. So what was needed at that time to have the decision regarding the future of India, that how India would look like in future? That was independence. That was the independent state for the Muslims, that is Pakistan. Point number 2, Failure of Simon Commission, narrow report, Jinnah's 14 points, they all failed, they all were rejected, whether this community or that. What was the ultimate solution? The ultimate solution was that the Muslims should be awarded with independence. And that was given in the Allahabad address by Allama Iqbal. 14 points, Hindu-Muslim unity broken down. No more Lucknow Pact. So, what to do next? To put forward some really very unique idea to resolve the issue or the political crisis of the subcontinent that was given by Allama Iqbal in the form of independence. So here we have the expected questions related to this particular topic of Allahabad address of 1930. Why was Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal an important influence on the struggle for a separate homeland for Pakistan? 7 marks question, as it is related to why. We are supposed to explain the reasons. So in this one we will explain three reasons that why Iqbal was really very much influential on the political grounds of the subcontinent. Was the work of Allama Iqbal more important to the Pakistan movement than that of the Chaudhry Rahmat Ali? Explain your answer. 14 markers. So level 3 would go to Allama Iqbal and level 4 will go to Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, and then level 5 would be the evaluation and judgment. So this is how this question would be attempted. Who was Allama Iqbal? A 4 marker. We will give response to this one as well. Why was Dr. Allama Iqbal an important? The same question repeated. October, November 14. Did Allama Iqbal contribute more to the Pakistan movement than Rahmat Ali? The same question with different wordings. Why was Allama Iqbal asked to chair the Muslim League at Allahabad in 1930? As there were certain political differences between the leadership of Muslim League at that time, and All India Muslim League got a split into two. Jinnah group and Mia Muhammad Shafi group. So these two groups, they were having the differences. Allama Iqbal was over here. I mean in the opposite group of Jinnah. So after the death of Sir Mia Muhammad Shafi, Allama Iqbal took the charge of this factor of All India Muslim League. One factor was controlled by Jinnah and the other was by Allama Iqbal. So Allama Iqbal was addressing his own partitioned sort of Muslim League over there at Allahabad. So we will discuss the answer of this question, and you will get the description of this question, the attempted answer to this question in the Google Drive link in the description of this video. Now here we have the second topic of this lecture today, that is the RTC's Roundtable Conferences from 1930 to 1932, as mentioned already over here. The importance of these roundtable conferences, when the issue or the conflict further aggravated and the issue was not going to any conclusion or any solution, and it was becoming further troublesome for the people of the subcontinent, the British government invited the leadership of the Indians, whether the Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs, local Christians and other scheduled castes leadership over there in Britain, to discuss the issues of the subcontinent and to reach out some viable sort of solution. So for this sake, the meetings they called over there in Britain, they are known as Roundtable Conferences. Number 1, first Roundtable Conference, British agreed on provincial autonomy. So it means Jinnah's 14 points got success. Right? So 14 points demand that there should be the provincial autonomy so that the Muslim League should be able to rule some provinces of the subcontinent like Bengal, Punjab, NWFP, Balochistan and Sindh if separated from Bombay Residency. Helped Muslims in Muslim majority areas, all those provinces I just named. So this was a greater success that the British, they accepted the demands of the Muslims that the provincial autonomy should be provided to them. Point number 2, the importance of second Roundtable Conference for the Muslims. British agreed to make Sindh and NWFP separate provinces. Good for Muslims. Again, 14 points demand accepted. Again, Jinnah was successful over here. Third Roundtable Conference. Gandhi took a hard line, rejected 14 points, gulf between two communities widened up, and in one way it was really very bad that both the communities or the political parties, they were really very much apart and on the extremes of the political scenario of the subcontinent. But for the Muslims, this failure or the failures of all these roundtable conferences was a sort of blessing in disguise that the Muslims, they got further closer to independence. So for this sake, you can say that the failures of all these roundtable conferences, they were good for the Muslims, that they further got a step higher towards the independence. So first roundtable conference of 1930, what was decided in that? Princely states agreed to join future federal India. So it means that with the passage of time, those princely states would be joining the British India as they were having the separate unique status, and they had that status even being within the British Empire. So they declared, they agreed that they would join the British Federal India and they would dissolve themselves into the British Empire. British agreed that the representative government should be introduced at provincial level. So it means that the provincial autonomy was awarded over here by the British. I mean, they agreed on it. Separation of Sindh from Bombay, again a greater success. To introduce federal system of government in India. So, this was the demand of the Hindus, I mean Indian National Congress, as Muslims wanted that there should be the provincial autonomy more rather than giving the federal system, as the Hindus would be having the government at the federal level because they were in majority. So that's why. So it means that the British tried to please the both communities by giving the autonomy over here to the Muslims, acceptance of Muslims demand and acceptance of Hindu demand over here by providing federal system. So a sort of give and take system gone over there, and it was perceived that there might be the better way to move on by giving some concessions to the Hindus and some concessions to the Muslims, so that to reach out some solution. Reasons of failure of first roundtable conference, that why the first roundtable conference failed. Absence of Congress, unable to achieve anything without major party. As you know that at this time the non-cooperation movement was there, and Mr. Gandhi was in jail, and Congress did not attend this first roundtable conference. So that was a sort of failure, that about 65 to 70% population's representative party, Indian National Congress, was not there. So it means that whatever the solution was coming out, that was not being acceptable to Congress, as it was not there in that meeting. No signatures from Congress. So it means that the solution could not be accepted by them. So Muslim demands were rejected by the British as all 14 points. Jinnah's demand was that all 14 points should be accepted or should be agreed on by the British, but that was not the case, that all those 14 points should be accepted. So in one case, the Muslim demands were rejected. Now next one, that is the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. As I told you that Gandhi was in the non-cooperation movement and he was in the jail, but when he was released, he came up with an agreement, a pact with the Viceroy of the subcontinent, Lord Irwin, on 17th to 19th of February 1931. The Indian National Congress was in the civil disobedience movement, had failed, and the Congress wanted to opt out of this situation, while the government too was serious of Congress participation in the second Roundtable Conference, because of the government has realized that without Congress, any solution for constitutional reforms would be difficult to reach. Lord Irwin extended invitation to Gandhi for talks, and an agreement between Gandhi and Irwin was signed with the following salient proposals. So Gandhi was released from jail and Irwin invited him for a dialogue to reach out some agreement, and finally they reached, and here are the 5 points of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. As the British Viceroy, Lord Irwin, wanted that the Congress should be participating in the second Roundtable Conference, which was due in September 1931, as the first one was in September 1930. So to convince Congress Party to be the part of the second Roundtable Conference, it was must that there should be an agreement between the Indian National Congress and the British government, and that came up in the form of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. The Congress would end its civil disobedience movement. The point number 1 of the agreement. The Congress will attend the second Roundtable Conference. The government will withdraw all ordinances against Congress. All cases, all laws which were going against Congress, they would be taken back. The government would withdraw all notification enactments related to offences not involving violence. Again, relaxation. These 2 points, they were done by Congress. These 2 done by British. The government should release all persons detained during civil disobedience movement. It means that the prisoners would be released, those who were arrested during the civil disobedience movement. So these were the points which were accepted by both the parties, I mean Indian National Congress and the British government. And then second Roundtable Conference happened in 1931. Sindh was to be made province with governor. Again, 14 points demand acceptance. All reforms would be introduced in NWP and Balochistan. Again, 14 points demand was accepted of Jinnah. So somehow the success of All India Muslim League in the form of acceptance of these 2 points by the British government and even the Hindus. Reasons of failure of second Roundtable Conference. As in this particular conference, Mr. Gandhi was also there and Jinnah was also there. So what were the reasons that, again, even after being the participation of the major political parties, still the conclusion or the solution could not be reached? Point number 1, 1931, Labour Party lost power, new coalition government less likely to give some reforms. As in 1931, there were elections held in Britain over there, and the Labour Party lost those elections, and now there was formed a coalition government. That coalition government was not really very much with a frame of mind to give positive reforms to the subcontinent, as the coalition government was struggling over there, that if that coalition government gives certain concessions to the Indians, the coalition partners, the other political parties, they might get aside and might create trouble for the coalition government. So it means that for this particular point, the locals over here in India could not get good concessions by the new conservative coalition party government over there in Britain. Gandhi's stubborn attitude, Gandhi took a hard line and refused minority rights. Gandhi was on a single point that whole of the subcontinent population was represented by Indian National Congress, and Gandhi was simply rejecting the presence, the existence of All India Muslim League or the Muslim leadership over there. So very hard stance taken by Gandhi, that was really very much sort of stubborn attitude declared, and he was one of the reasons that the second Roundtable Conference failed. Gandhi wanted narrow report in constitution. Muslims wanted 14 points leading to the disagreement. So as I already told that there was a greater difference in these two. They were opposing one another. That's why they got rejection in 1928 and 1929. So this led to the disagreement in the second Roundtable Conference that both the major political parties could not reach out any solution. The third Roundtable Conference of 1932, communal award was introduced, that the separate electorate for all, for Muslims, Sikhs, local Christians and scheduled castes. So that is known as the separate electorate for all minorities. Weightage in Hindu dominated provinces, Muslim majority in Punjab and Bengal was reduced, as Muslims were in majority in these two provinces, but their majority was declined to minority, and they were given lesser number of seats in the provincial assemblies. That was not acceptable by the Muslims. So reasons of failure of third Roundtable Conference, that why this third Roundtable Conference failed. Lord Irwin replaced with Lord Wellington, as there was the change in the government over there in Britain. So as there was the change in the viceroy of the subcontinent, as now the new coalition government appointed their own viceroy over here in the subcontinent, as Lord Irwin was of the Labour Party. And this new viceroy, Lord Wellington, was less willing to make reforms. Less Indians thus wanted to come. Only 46 delegates attended this conference. It means that there was really very less representation of the Indians or the locals over there in the third Roundtable Conference. Congress restarted non-cooperation movement or civil disobedience movement, and Congress went on roads again. And leaders Gandhi and Nehru were arrested again. Thus, Congress leaders did not attend the third Roundtable Conference. Point number 3, Jinnah went to voluntary exile after second Roundtable Conference. He stayed over there in Britain and he never came back in the subcontinent to lead the Muslims, because he was disappointed by the stubborn attitude of Mr. Gandhi and what he perceived that with this particular attitude of Gandhi, the issue of subcontinent would never get resolved. Thus, not invited and did not attend. He did not get any invitation by the British government to attend the third Roundtable Conference, and he was not willing to attend that conference as well. So these were the reasons that why the Roundtable Conferences failed, the third one as well. So here we have the questions related to the Roundtable Conferences. All these are the past paper questions. You can see that May, June 2005, May, June 2007, May, June 2008, May, June 2013, May, June 2014, and in the same way the coming years might also have got the questions related to May, June 15, May, June 17, May, June 18, and the coming years. And then October, November, almost every year in every exam series we have got the question related to the Roundtable Conferences. How successful were the three Roundtable Conferences of 1930 to 1932? Explain your answer, a 14 marker. The Roundtable Conference of 1930, I mean talking about the first one, achieved more than those of the 31 and 32. Comparison of first with second and third. Do you agree or disagree? 14 marker. Why was it necessary to hold 3 roundtable conferences? 7 marker. Was anything achieved by the roundtable conferences of 1930 to 1932? Explain your answer. I mean, again, the successes and failures to be explained over here. Why were the 3 roundtable conferences held between 1930 to 1932? 7 marker. Why? The reasons. How successful was the 3 roundtable conferences? Again, repetition. Why was the second roundtable conference of 1931 unsuccessful? 3 reasons related to second roundtable conference of 1931. Was the first roundtable conference of 1930 more successful? Repetition in previous years as well. Why was Congress rule 1930 to 1937 hated? This is not the question of this particular topic. I will include this one in the later topics. Why was the second roundtable conference of 1931 unsuccessful? Repetition. This question is the same one. Why were the 3 roundtable conferences held between 30 to 32? Again, repetition. This one. So these were the questions, and I will put the answers of these questions in the description through the link of my Google Drive. You will download, and you can download those answers from that Google Drive link, and you can prepare yourself. So this is all for today. Do not forget to subscribe RU Speaks. You will learn a lot, inshallah. Up till now, it's over. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.